Okay, so I had a request for a more exciting and more complicated example for the Scratch project. So let's create a really sort of advanced, exciting game. So first of all, to do this, I have installed Paint.net. This is an application that lets us do some nice graphics. We'll be able to do more advanced graphics handling than simply using Paint. This is Microsoft Paint. It comes on all Windows machines, and it's basically terrible. So we're not going to install that. Well, it's already installed, but we don't need to use that. We've also got. I found this nice graphic here of a little running man, and that came from OpenGameArt.org and from a chap called Freedom Forge. So if you love his work, well, basically I'm giving him credit there because that's one of the requirements for that website. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop up each of these little images and I'm going to have them cycle. So the guy is going to run basically when I tell him to run. And this probably isn't going to look that great in low FPS, which is what I have set my video capture to. The reason I've set it to that is so that these video files don't end up absolutely massive. So here's our graphic. That's great. So let's just cut up each of these animations and save them as their own file. So I will crop this and then I will save it. I will call it 1, and then I will take 2 and I will crop that, and I will save that, and then I'll do the same for the next one. Crop that, save as 3. So I'll just quickly do that for all of them, and then I will resume the video. Okay, so I've now created 8 images here for our little man, and we can see he's slowly running. So let me do that more slowly. Yeah, so he runs. Brilliant. Now let's get these to Scratch. So we need a new sprite, and we'll hit Paint New Sprite, and we will import the first of those graphics. So it's on my desktop, and it's in the what folder did I save this in? Did I call it new folder? I called it new folder. Brilliant. I'm a dummy. Okay, so into the new folder. There we go. There's one. So we'll go OK, and now we'll draw some more costumes for him. So let's see if we can import multiple ones at once. No, we can't. Okay, so import, 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 and so on and so forth. I think that might have been the last one. It is, yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can make this guy run. Well, for this we're going to need a repeat, because the control structure repeat loops stuff. So let's take in a repeat, and we'll go with repeat to 100. Now, what's the instruction? The instruction is going to be a looks instruction, and we'll go with next costume. And this is going to be the simplest solution. And if I run this, he's probably going to run super fast. Yes, he is running super fast. So I suggest you do the same thing, and you'll see it running super fast, even if the FPS on this video makes it look like he's not running super fast. So let's put a simple wait instruction in here so that he runs a bit slower. I will set this to 0.5. That's something similar to the FPS of this video, probably. So you should see him now slowly running. Great. So let's see if we can make this some more exciting now. Well, let's have some ground. So we will go into the background, and we will paint some ground for him to stand on. And let's have a little platform as well. We can worry about dealing with platforms later. So potentially he could jump onto this platform and then he could maybe jump onto this platform or something like that. Okay, so let's add some basic gravity. So we'll need, again, a repeat loop, and in this case we're going to go for what I like to call our physics engine. So this is where we put in our logic for what's happening all the time. And what's happening all the time is if you're not touching the ground, you're going to be moving down. So let's see if we can sense whether we're touching the ground. Well, this looks useful, touching color. And let's see about controls. Well, what's the control that decides to branch behaviors? Well, we know an if statement, an if condition here, is for doing something only if a certain condition is met. And you should have seen that from the lectures. So the if statement is what we're looking for, and we also want a condition in which he's not in the air. So currently he's in midair. We want him to fall down until he hits the green stuff. And we know that we can set this to the green stuff here. Oh, let's set it to the white stuff. See if we can't set it to the green one. There you go. So this is the condition. If he's touching the green, he's fine. If he's not touching the green, he's falling. So we need an if and else statement there. So if he is touching the green, we're happy. Nothing's happening. Otherwise, he's not touching the green, so he should be falling down. So let's change his motion. And we can go set x to, now let's have a plus operator, so we can add two things together. And we should have your x position here, plus, well, let's say it's probably minus, isn't it? And it's the y position anyway. So forget what I said about the x position. He's going to be falling down the way vertically, and vertically is the y. So we'll need to switch that. So set y. So this is deliberately slightly more complicated. We could just go change y, but I want to show you how to do it using more control blocks, because that's more exciting. So set y position to y position minus 1. And this is actually an interesting concept because we're going to need this in Java later on. So really pay attention to this. What we're doing here is we're setting his y position to an absolute value. So if we said set y position to 10, he'd jump up to 10. If we say set position to 5, he jumps down to 5. But what we're setting it to in this case is its current value minus 1. So have a think through that, work through it in your head, and see that the y position minus 1 is going to be 1 pip lower, and then we set him to that. So assuming he is not touching the color, we want him to fall down. Now we need a start event for this, so this is our physics loop here. So when the green go button is pressed, it's going to loop round in our physics loop. So let's put our game logic in here. So the current game logic says if he's touching the ground, do nothing, else make him fall. So let's see if that works. Well, it's falling down. Brilliant. Now let's see if we can just hit stop a second. Now let's see if we can have him move left and move right. So we saw last time how to do that. I'll show you a slightly more exciting method of doing this. So we need another if statement. So let's duplicate this. Except we're not going to have an else, so actually we probably don't want to duplicate it. We want to just take another if statement out. So if, and we will have the sensing instruction key down. So in this I'm going to go with the right key, right arrow. So this is a slightly different way than having the response, and it's a slightly more programming way of doing it, because we've got a condition, and we've got what the condition is. If this condition is true, the key's down, we want to be moving him right. So in this case, we're going to be setting his x position. So we need to have looks and so this is a motion object, not a looks object. So set x to x plus 1 is what we're going to have. So we'll just put in that operator, x plus 1. Okay, let's put that in. And now we want to have the left arrow. And in that case, we don't want to add 1, we want to subtract 1. So subtract 1. Okay, so let's see what happens to him now. Well, let's run the project. Now I'll move right, and he runs along the ground. He runs along the ground. We run back, and he falls through the ground, potentially. Okay, so you'll notice he's still touching the ground because his sprite's still touching the ground. It's not his feet. So you could potentially address that in your program. So now we know that we can move him along. Brilliant. Let me just put in a cut point here.